Hello, multi-musingness of musing maltiness. It's a good thing I took that one slowly. It's a malt mention. Welcome to my channel. I'm Ralphie. This is the home of opinionated, specific, and I have to say quite analytical whisky reviews. And thank you to Andreas Nijman for the malt mention. This is Ralphie Review 969 and you are in the bothy. This is a bottle of whisky. Oh, look at the colour. Look at that magnificent colour. Oh, the darker the better. No, if you're a Ralphie regular, you know that is not the case. You can get some very light coloured Scotch whiskies, which are fabulous flavours, and very dark Scotch whiskies, which are nothing but chemical colour, caramel colourant. Synthetic caramel made in an industrial process and dumped into your whisky to make it look nicer than it is. So don't judge a colour of a whisky too deeply. You need to smell a whisky, you need to taste a whisky before you can assess it, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. This is Ledaig. They call it Ledaig at the distillery, but I call it Ledaig because it sounds better. And I bought the bottle so I can call it what I want. End of. And so can you. Don't feel bound by these obscure protocols. They're just there to confuse and create a veneer of the exotic, frankly. But talking of exotic, this is a non-age statement, heavily peated, single malt Scotch whisky from Tobermory Distillery on the Isle of Mull on the west coast of Scotland, and it's got lots and lots of character, and this particular bottling's got even more character because it's been matured in a ex-Rioja Spanish red wine cask. Now, Rioja, if you want to go and look in Google Maps, which I did recently, you will find it in north of Madrid, in the centre of northern Spain in the Basque country. And I like Rioja a lot, in the same way that I like Chianti from Italy a lot. In fact, to be honest, malt mates, there's times I get the two wines hopelessly confused, particularly when I'm tasting them or even thinking about them. But anyway, where's this bottle? Here it is. Just to show you, a bottle of Rioja. I bought this recently just because every now and again I just like to have a change from whisky and I just have something different. This particular red wine is actually going to serve a dual purpose, because what I'm going to do, apart from having a glass of red wine at the weekend, I'm going to pour a glass of this whisky and I'm going to add a drop of that wine to the whisky just to see what happens. After all, this whisky's been matured in a Rioja cask. If I dilute it with Rioja, what will it taste like? It's only one way to find out. So what I'm saying to you is, never be afraid to experiment. Break the set, break the orthodoxy, and you will benefit significantly in terms of developing your smell and taste when you no longer just consume whisky like you're told to, through the passive marketing and social customs and habits, which says just pour the glass into a tumbler, add the ice and chug. If you're still doing that, well, it's a good thing you found this channel because it's going to enlighten you. So let's remove the bottle of wine. We don't need that now till later. Oh, oops-a-daisy, I'm dropping stuff. Could you excuse me? I've just dropped all my malt marks. And my Clivey clicker, so I bet to make sure it didn't accidentally put the video off. No, we're fine. Lovely. Right, I'll get my malt mark out now, so I've got it handy. Right, where were we? Time to review this whisky. Non-age statement whisky, bottled at 46.3%, part of what they call the Sinclair series, which I believe, last time I was told by someone when I made inquiries, is part of a kind of exotic cask series. It's a wine cask series of bottlings of Ledaig. And I have to say, having spent a few weeks with this, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. All the more so because in the UK, this costs £35 a bottle. Now bear in mind, it's bottled at 46.3%, so you're getting a lot more flavour than you will find in any blend at 40% for the same price. This is really good value, and I hope it's not too expensive where you are. So you're in for a shock if you're in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and any of the Scandinavian countries. It's just the way it is. All the countries where people are too self-disciplined, polite and obedient, and trusting of the mechanism. I tell you, it's no wonder people are hooching in Canada these days and doing their own at home where they won't be disturbed. Very fruity, lots of fruit, immediately fruit. When you're coming into a heavily peated whiskey, particularly a young one, and I wouldn't put this any more than about 7 or 8 years old, you expect your first impression to be entirely phenolic from the peatiness. So licorice, burnt twigs, chimney soot, coal tar, TCP, that sort of region of flavours. But here, the presence of the red fruit is very prominent, and that tells me one important thing, and that is fresh, wet wine casks have been used for the maturation of this whisky, and they've been used extensively. So this is no mere superficial finish. This has been an extensive monitored period of maturation just to get the balance right between the pungent, tannic rich, gutsy, earthy red wine, which is another reason I bought the bottle of wine, and a gutsy, rich, peated single malt whisky. So you've got two giants coming to together and clashing, but sort of exhausting themselves with each other and just settling down into some homogeneous meeting in the middle. And it works absolutely wonderfully well. Don't expect any sophisticated oak influence in this. Don't expect any sort of prolonged cask engagement that you would get or should be getting with the declaration of a more advanced age statement of 15 years and beyond, because you won't find that. This is a young whisky, and it's just full of short-lived energy. But in itself, that's what the experience is about. And I can assure you, certainly if you're in the UK, that's really good value for money. Cheers. Taste. Chimney smoke, leathery peat, everything that Lagavulin should be and frequently isn't due to the chill filtration. Talking of chill filtration, says on the label, non-chill filtered. So what are we getting? We're getting unprocessed, unrefined whisky. We're getting full fat whisky instead of semi-skimmed whisky, which is what we're paying for. Because when you buy this, you're buying the flavour. So when the bottler bottles at higher strength, so they don't need to chill filter, you're getting that extra volume of alcohol in the bottle to help deliver that phenolic punch of the flavour through, and it works wonderfully well. Raspberries, strawberries, cranberries, ripe plums, soft ripe plums, and red cherries. Some pink cherries too. I'm going to add a full teaspoon, 5 millilitres of water to this, and gentle roly-poly, no shakies. Very important. Wine drinkers will shake the wine glass and slurp, 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 because there's that much less alcohol in a glass of wine to deliver the flavour. You do not have that problem in a bottle of whisky at 46.3%. You really don't. It is well over 3 times the strength of your average bottle of wine, and as such, you've got to slow down the agitation because you just don't need it. If you overexcite the whisky with agitation, you're going to chase off too much flavours too soon, too violently, and you'll get what's called a nose rush. And a nose rush is where you're getting so much smell all rushing at once that it's just confusing and you can't pick out the individual flavour notes. And it's the same in the palate when you're slurping. Let's dive into this again. Beautiful soft smoke. I tell you, it's wonderfully rounded for such a young age. I honestly wonder, is this some older, say 12-year-old whisky and single malt in this just to give it extra gravity? I really think there is actually. This is more than just young whisky. And this is a reason for me reviewing non-age statement whiskies now. This isn't the first one I've reviewed. When I was reviewing the Oslo winners, I reviewed Ardnamurchan and Victoriana from Glen Scotia. Both seriously good non-age statement whiskies, although the Ardnamurchan has a vintage reference on it. Particularly if you follow their QR codes, and especially if they're working. My first comment is, at £35 a bottle, this is extremely good value whisky for any type of whisky, any type of liquor. Wonderfully jammy, peaty, phenolic, characterful, eventful, luscious, rounded, sensation range. You get the sweetness of the fruit, the sourness of the peat, the bitterness of a little bit of oak and peatiness. You don't really notice much in the way of saltiness. The sourness, of course, is in the background. It underpins the development right into the finish, and the finish is just lovely, infused, phenolic, soft tannins and gentle, receding orange jam, marmalade and red currant conserve. Absolutely delightful, with little background notes of apricot, and there's something else in there that I can't quite pin. I think it's kind of like roses, but slightly different. So it's when you're smelling roses and you get that perfume smell. There's another red plant. It could be hyacinth, actually. No, it's not hyacinth. It's something else. There's a type of lily, right? There's a type of lily which is going to get a fruity note to it, and it's not a white lily. It's something like that. What am I going to give this as a malt mark? I'm going to give this a very well earned 83 out of 100. Bear in mind, anything over 80 is a Ralphie recommended. Anything over 90 on this channel is now highly unusual. I've recalibrated the marks because I needed to do it to have greater separation between the best and the rest. And yes, I admit it, I'm trying to chase whisky standards up the way because I fear that as time goes on, we're all being dumbed down by generic marketing and being encouraged to accept less whilst paying more. And it's just my opinion. Now that's a malt mark. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. And if you did, please subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment and I'll give you a wee heart in response, because there's so many comments now in my channel, it's difficult to respond to all of them. So at least I'll give you a heart most of the time just to acknowledge that I've read your comment. So I'm doing more than many other channels, put it that way. So thank you for watching. Cheers, my dears. It's lovely to see you, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.